Next up is my very smart and very dear friend Biz Paul. He is going to be sharing with you how your customer is a flamingo, interesting, but understanding the many routes that they take and the content that serves them on their journey. So you may have a really well done funnel, but if something's missing, this might be the answer to that. So please welcome the amazing Biz Paul.
Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you're watching today. My name is Biz Paul. That was a lovely introduction from Teresa, and it's a huge honor to be here, to be honest, at the Rise Above Summit. I hope you're having a great experience so far. What am I? Who am I? I'm not a flamingo. I am a customer journey and content specialist, and what I do as part of my company, Like My Media, is help organizations understand the exact journey that their customers take on their pathway to buy from you. And as we'll discover today, it's not always as straightforward as you think it is. It is great to hear from you. If you've got any comments you want to make, obviously put them in the chat. And this is live. I'm one of the live ones. Okay. So if there's a question that you've got, I'd love to be able to answer them, bearing in mind that I can talk and we've only got 30 minutes. So why am I here talking about flamingos? What the hell have flamingos got to do with customers and customer journeys? Well, you're going to discover quite a lot, but actually it was a little bit tenuous. Let me introduce you to my 15-year-old son, Felix. Felix is autistic and he has many challenges in his life. He does a brilliant job of overcoming them so much. But one of his obsessions is flamingos. He loves flamingos. This house is covered in flamingos. Everyone that we know who knows Felix knows that if they see a flamingo, send us a picture of a flamingo. We've got t-shirts with flamingos on. He's actually got a little online store called iloveflamingos.com where he actually designs t-shirts in Adobe Express, and we sort of create t-shirts. So anyway, I wasn't meant to talk about that. That's not what I'm here for. That was kind of an aside. So he said to me, Dad, so like you're doing this talk at Rise Above Summit, can you see if you can get in the word flamingo somewhere? Right, we've all played that game. Now, what he failed to remember is that I'm an all or nothing kind of guy, and I couldn't just stop at just getting the word flamingo in there. So I thought I will just try and make the whole talk all about flamingos. And I thought, well, to do that, I've got to really look at whether or not flamingos have got anything at all to do with customer journeys and content. So you do a bit of research. But the more that I was doing my research, the more I could actually relate their behavior to human beings. So let me introduce you to the fruits of my research on flamingos. Prepare yourself for a bit of a nature PowerPoint presentation, as if like you're at a family gathering. So first of all, let me introduce you to the greater flamingo. Now, the greater flamingo, as you will see from the top half of the slide, is the most common type of flamingo that exists in the world. They exist South America, Caribbean, Europe, Africa, Middle East, South Asia. There's lots there. There's lots of travel that they participate in. They have an average height of 5'3", which I think is pretty average. And if anyone knows me in real life, you will know that 5'3" is in fact the average height of a human being and the right height as well. The greater flamingo has been described as rather showy, as we can see from the ombre effect of their plumage in this photo. Then there's the American flamingo. Now, the American flamingo exists in parts of America, and they existed in a lot more places within the Americas until the Europeans arrived, which is a familiar story if you know anything about history. Now, a fun fact about the American flamingo is that they're not always monogamous. Make of that what you will. And that they have a variety of courtships, some of which are high intensity, some of which are low intensity. And again, I think we've all been there in our lives. Finally, let me introduce you to the Chilean flamingo, or if you're on the other side of the pond, the Chilean flamingo. You'll note here that they are rather prevalent in the South Americas, around the Chile area. They are smaller. than other flamingos, which makes them my kind of flamingo. Now, I'm not really here to talk about flamingos, of course, but a little bit of a quiz. There is not a prize for this. This is just, for pride. I wonder, do you know, or does anyone know what the uh, name of a group of flamingos actually is? Let me see if I can look at the chat here. There we go. Oh, we've got lots of comments. I wasn't displayed on my screen, so I wasn't prepared for that. Hello. Oh, my fan club is here. Let's not get distracted by the comments. Does anyone know what a group of flamingos is actually called? Anyone? Like I say, there's no prize, so perhaps you don't want to get involved too much in that. But a group of flamingos is actually called. Oh, Louise Miller, you are absolutely spot on. Someone send her a swag bag. I've just given away lots of Teresa's swag there, but I've done it now. I've said it. It's a flamboyance, which I think is such an awesome name for a group of flamingos. It just describes perfectly what they do. I'm not really here to talk about flamingos. I'm here to talk about customer journeys. But as I say, I've got to try and relate what I've learned into the customer journey experience. So where does one go when we are doing some research and trying to find out stuff about flamingos? We go to a search engine. Bear that in mind. So I'm going on Google here and I'm saying, are flamingos? And then as you'll notice, I'm getting like the pre-filled suggestions of what I can type in. So are they born pink? Are they endangered? Are they mammals? Are flamingos mammals? Someone did not pay attention in biology there. Are they smart? Are flamingos extremophiles? And I was really taken by this word extremophiles because I did not know what that word was. So that's what I clicked. And I found out that flamingos, in biological terms, can be considered extremophiles. That means a species of animal adapted to extreme conditions where few other species are capable of living. That sounds familiar. Flamingos have evolved for these niches to avoid competition for feeding and nesting areas. I think that's fascinating, but also very, very perfect for what we're talking about today. So, as I say, I'm trying to find out, are flamingos, have they got anything to do with customer journeys? I'm thinking migratory patterns. Let's see if I can find some correlation between flamingos and the way that they travel. Now, I've got to tell you, folks, as is usually the case with Google, things are not always conclusive. So some are saying they're non-migratory. Some are saying they prefer to migrate at night. This next one was my favorite. Do flamingos migrate? Sort of. Not really that helpful. You don't always get the answer that you want on Google. I'm looking for some kind of information or content that's going to give me the answer that I want to. Actually, what did I decide to do? I went to the British Ornithologists Club. Did you know there was such a thing? You do now. Where I found this really interesting piece of research called A Migrant Species or Not, a discussion of flamingo movement behaviors. Absolutely spot on. This is what I am here for. However, sadly, it went a bit existential to the point where they're saying, well, we don't know what is migration? What is migration? So not really conclusive. Are they migratory creatures or not? No one's given me the answer that I want. Never mind. Let's move on. What we do know is that flamingos move. Why do they move? Again, research is the answer here. Flamingos move for food. They move for a change in environment. They move because of social change. And frankly, they move because they just damn well feel like it. Not a lot that you can do about the way that flamingos move. Just like your customers. Now, this here is a diagram of what I would call a very linear journey. Some people might call it a sales funnel or a sales pipeline, but it's very sort of one-dimensional, this. And what I've tried to do here is I've kind of outlaid what any business could apply to a customer journey. We start off with awareness. We want to generate awareness of our business, and we might create some content to help that along. So we might, for example, do some advertising. We might print a flyer, we might go networking, we might create some content on social media. Hopefully they become a lead. Maybe they go onto our website, maybe they download our lead magnet, perhaps we run a webinar and they're signing up with their email address and coming onto our email list, from which we do a bit of nurturing. We maybe send them out some emails, do some more social media, things like that. And long story short, we're going to send out a proposal. We're going to do a sale. Hopefully they make the sale. The emails that you send with your proposal, the proposal itself, the terms and conditions on the proposal, the order confirmation, this is all content that contributes to the customer journey. So very safe, very linear. People can get stuck. You can move them along. The problem, though, is that people don't always move in linear ways because they have free will, free thoughts, unexpected questions and doubts, buyer's remorse. Maybe they've got to get approval from senior management, their partner. Maybe they've got budget concerns. Maybe they've got a plan over a number of years. It doesn't fit with that. There's all these extra layers that people have when they're trying to make a decision. And it's not just as straightforward as going from A to B in a straight line. I mean, do you think Beyonce, CEO of Destiny's Child, Inc., is being forced down a linear buying journey? Of course she isn't. She just does what she damn well likes because she's Beyonce, and rightly so. So how do we relate this to what goes on in the real world? Well, let's go back to our flamingos and imagine that our flamingos are all in the same buying process, same sort of target or objective, but they're all going in different pathways. So the greater flamingo customer, for example, there's lots of movement here. They understand what they need. They're looking for solutions. They do lots of research because it's on the internet, right? They ask their colleagues, their acquaintances, all this kind of stuff. And they're trying to compare things like prices and what their needs are. And they sort of go in a little loop at that point. They need some kind of evidence that you say you do what you say you do. And maybe they're looking for case studies or testimonials there. They're happy with those, so they make a request to get a proposal from you. But unfortunately, they get crippling doubt that the decision is going to be the wrong one. So they make a recommendation anyway to the people that need to sign it off, and they go, don't like it, try again. And so they go back. And basically, they end up in this big old loop, which I call the toxic purchase process cycle of doom. No good. Absolute stasis. Anyway, eventually, maybe through centrifugal forces, they are spun out and they get some kind of approval and they make the sale. Okay, terribly complicated, same journey. The American flamingo, little movement here. This person, this type of customer, already knows the landscape. They know what they want. They're not interested in a comparison because they are right. We've all seen those people. They might get some reassurance quickly that their decision is right. Budget's not a problem. Very, very quick. They can go to the sale. This is called the nothing is stopping me velocity waterfall. The Chilean flamingo, no idea what they want, seeks reassurance constantly, moves back and forth. There's some decision paralysis here. This is the will I be fired indecision vortex. But ultimately, they just go, no idea, I'll just buy it on a whim at the last minute. So depending on whichever person you're dealing with, the actual route may be completely different. Linear journeys, linear predictable journeys, just don't exist. They don't exist anymore. And again, this is why search, great for choice, nightmare for decision making. We need to accept a loss of control over those customer journeys. We don't have them. They don't call us or talk to us early enough in the journey because of the information that's out there. They've made a lot of those decisions themselves without even reaching you. So how do we balance that out? How do we become more influential in that decision-making process without them needing to reach us? Through content. We need to accept the journey that they go on. This here is a model based on something called the Hankins hexagon, which is by a chap called James Hankins. You can go and look him up because I'm not going to pretend that I invented this particular model. But Hankins hexagon basically says that customers can travel at any point between any stage in a journey at any time. So imagine your journey is lined in a line. You can kind of pull that into a circle and people can go from stage to stage. Now, it's all very marketing and technical and stuff like that. And I've just tried to simplify it here into the word accept, because we need to accept the journey. And what we're going to do is, rather than wait for them to contact us, a bit like when you're at an evening reception and Suzanne is saying she only moves for food, so she's going to move at this point. At an evening reception, when someone comes around with canapes, you know, someone's got the mini Yorkshire puddings with beef in, someone's got well, probably not cheese and pineapple. Let's say some smoked salmon, because this is the Rise Above Summit. You know, someone comes to you. So wherever you fancy, wherever you turn, there's something served there. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to serve our customer with content that they need, whichever stage of the journey they're at. So for example, in this hexagon, there's 6 parts of the journey. There might be 3 for you. There might be 10 for you. You can decide. So what are we talking about in the journey? Well, here are some categories of the stages. Assimilation. So who do I want to work with? If I'm a customer, who do I want to work with? This is where you need to create content that relates to things like my visions and values, the way that I am, how I work, who I work with, what I believe, your CSR kind of stuff, any charity days that you're doing, you know, who is it? We want to work with people that we like. So how are you going to create content that shows people what that's going to be? People are going to make a comparison between you and someone else on the shortlist. So, you know, you need to give them that. I know I can only work with people that I get on with, really. I've done my period of working with people just for the money. Like, we need to work with people that we like. So people are making that judgment. Show them who you are, show them what you look like. People are going to make that comparison of all sorts of things. They'll make a comparison of you. They'll make a comparison of your price. They'll make a comparison of the product or the service that is on offer. So they are going to get information so that they can do that comparison. If you can't provide the information to them when they want it, you're off the shortlist. They're just not going to continue the conversation with you because they don't have to. The information is there from someone else. So you need to be getting all of your ducks in a row and making sure that the information is there. People want to know what the service is going to be like. Are you going to look after them? What do other people say? This is where your testimonials and your case studies, videos, you know, quotes, whatever it is that you've got. This is what are going to be helpful there in whichever format you choose to do that in. People want to know. People also want to know, what is it that I actually need? Sometimes people don't know. So how can you be the thought leader in your industry and say, actually, this is what's on offer. These are the things that you should be thinking about. Let me guide you through that process. Because if you don't know what you need, as a business, we need to be suggesting to people, well, here's some things to think about. What options are there? Here they are. People want to know what the process is going to be like when they work with you. So for those of you that are service-based businesses, make sure you're telling people what that process looks like. Is there an application process? Do you work side by side? Is it online? Are there 3 stages to it? And you can create various bits of content that articulates what those stages are really easily in graphic form, carousels, videos, animation, all sorts of things. Even a video of you just actually talking to camera, explaining what that is going to be like, helps people feel assured. It moves people along that journey. And finally, the trigger. Well, there's a trigger for everything. Somebody may have a problem that they need to solve. Sometimes it might be that you can cause the trigger. You know, if you walk past a coffee shop and smell the coffee and go, I need a cup, they've created the trigger. So people can go at any point between any of these and think about your own buying habits. How often do you think that you're almost at the purchase point when you sort of change direction and go, hang on, let's just have another look at this? This is what people can do. So we need to create content about all of the stages in your customer's buying process, and to be doing that all the time, because people will be coming into your journey at various points. Some people will be near the end, some people will be at the start. what sort of content can help with your customers? Let's look at some specifics now with some evidence about how that will work best for you. So, content that is relevant to the audience is absolutely paramount. Whether you're dealing with social media, whether you're dealing with search, try not to create content that is very, very generic. Be specific. Create 3 different types of content for 3 different sectors dealing with the same issue. Because the people who want it in sector A or from sector A will resonate with them if they're seeing the examples that relate to their sector. Email segmentation, people do not do this enough still. If you've got an email list, you can obviously tag people depending on what they've bought. You can investigate what they've expressed an interest in, create emails to a subsection of your email list that is relevant to them. If they've bought product A and you think product B is a good thing that they should buy to complement product A, then find the people who have bought product A and send them an email about product B. And people go on about algorithms in social media. Actually, algorithms are our friend from a customer journey perspective. We can create content that is specifically about a part of the journey. The chances are that the algorithms are going to know who's at what stage and is going to serve the right piece of content to them. So don't be afraid to create multiple pieces of content for different parts of the journey all the time. Just don't wait to do it. Where's the evidence for this, I hear you say? So lots of evidence on this. So this piece here by the Content Marketing Institute, if we look at research that's been done on customer journeys, you can see here the data. 81% of people say that they do their research before they bring in somebody to discuss some kind of product. What are they looking for? These are the 3 most important quantities of content, according to a research by SmartBrief. Now, when they were asked, what are your 3 most important qualities, this is basically what they said. The top answer, it needs to speak to my specific needs and pain points. Now, I'm sure you've pretty much heard this somewhere before, that we want to create content that addresses a need, a problem that somebody has. The evidence is there that you still need to do that. So you can look at things like Answer the Public. You can look at things like Also Asked, and they're fine. You can even look at Google and see what that autofills coming in. But look at your existing customers. What questions do you get asked? What do you know are the pain points? And if you don't know, go and ask your existing clients and customers what it is that they struggled with. What was it that they needed to know? I ask my clients all the time. It is the most useful piece of research that you can do because you're hearing it directly from your people. 57% of people wanted specification or technical based content. Now, I think it's very tempting in the world of TikTok dancing and lip syncing to sort of ignore the fact that people don't always want that kind of content. I know from the work that I do that often, depending on the product, depending on the type of flamingo that you're talking to, people might want the detail. So think about the service offering that you have. What do they need to know? Is there a time period? Is there certain costs associated with it? What's the detail that you think that they need? And can you put that in the form of maybe a download so that somebody can take it and they can file it and go, yes, I've got all the information I need here. Those types of downloads are very helpful if anyone has to get a decision agreed by anybody else, even if it's just their business partner, because you can just say, look at this. This is all you need. Think about like top trump cards, right? You've got all the data on there. It's helpful. You know which is your strength. Think about producing a one sheet or something that is referenceable by your clients that they can take away and store somewhere. It's also helpful if it's on their desk and they keep looking over. It's a reminder that you exist. Now, 43% of people in this survey wanted content that was more educational than promotional in nature. Now, again, you've probably heard marketing people say, don't sell or don't oversell, stop being salesy and create content that's valuable. Sure, do that. But the statistic here, which I find interesting, is less than half of people wanted more educational content. Don't forget to sell. create information and content about the product, about the service. Tell people how much it costs. Tell people how they can get it. Make sure you remind them that it exists. We want people to remember that they're buying from you. People are in a journey to buy. So that's the justification. We need to find a way to remember to do all of this stuff. So we need a little bit of a phrase to remember. And it's helpful if these things rhyme. So prepare yourself for what I think is probably the pièce de résistance of this session, the thing that you will remember. For flamingos to feed, shrimp you will need. We got that? I'm going to give you your never-ending supply of content shrimp and warm conditions, because it turns out flamingos like that, as do I. This is how to remember it, okay? Remember shrimp. So I want you in your content to show the experience that your customer will have, because at some point in that journey, they're going to want to know. Try and bring that forward to the customer, and they can get a little soupçon of what it's like to work with you. Show them. Also show them how things are made. Talk about the process involved. So if you're actually making something, then show them how it's made. Don't give away your trade secrets, but show them what's involved. Show them the love, the care that you put into this. Show them that it's valuable emotionally as well as financially, right? But again, bring the experience forward to them. Let them into your world. Open up. Record questions from your customers. That way you'll have content ideas, things that you can answer, whether it's blogs, videos, whatever. Invite your team to be part of your content. Why? Because it makes your life easier. Now, by your team, again, it could be your team members if you've got a team. If you don't have a team, that's fine. If you've got kids, get them involved. It's not slave labor if they're your children. So try and spread the load a little bit. Sometimes people worry about things like TikToks and is this type of content helpful, or I don't feel comfortable creating it. Get a young person to do it. They get it. Okay, multiply content by posting different versions. What I mean by that really is repurpose. If you're creating a video, get that wherever there is video, the different social media platforms, YouTube, the second biggest search engine in the world. If you're doing short form video, so TikToks, Reels, the order that you do it in might need to be a certain way so that Instagram doesn't ban your TikTok and all the rest of it. That's technical. But you've got YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, all designed to push information out to people it thinks are going to be relevant. So don't be afraid to repurpose content, get the maximum exposure and the maximum value out from the work that you do. And finally, products are important. So do make sure that you talk about your products, that you sell. Don't be afraid. People get it. You're a business. You need to sell. People are really quite forgiving. I don't believe for a second that people unfollow because a business is trying to sell their products. I just don't think it. And in fact, if you've ever looked at TikTok and seen the amount of live selling that goes on there, I think we all know and are big enough to understand that people need to sell their products and services. So please don't be afraid to do that. Your key takeaways from this session: customers, they have complete free will. You can't control where they go. I mean, you can guide them a little bit, but they'll go in their own way, however long or short that is. So create content for each stage of your customer's journey, ready for when they arrive. Have the shrimp on the platter ready. Let the algorithms do the heavy lifting there. Okay, so that's what's going to happen on their way. And technical product sales-based information is still food that is helpful for customers. So nourish them with that. And your bonus takeaway is very much that customers are like flamingos. Right, that's it from me. I'm going to have a look at the chat just to see if there's any questions. I'm quite impressed I did it to time, really. I think I probably get top marks in the first session. Okay, if you want to dive into this a bit deeper, I'll be honest, I don't have like a download that you can go in and get or anything like that. I don't have anything to sell to you, but I would love to connect with you. You've got my email address there, telephone number. the website. You know, if you want to get involved, then do that. If you want to connect with me online, if you want the professional stuff, LinkedIn is your place. If you want the rather unhinged stuff, it's Instagram. So I'm at BizPaul everywhere. And for those of you that know me that are here, you can probably vouch for the complete randomness of Instagram, but it's fun. You can see what I've done here is I've included a picture of a dog. That's also a top tip for content. You know, people like dogs. There you go. Becky says she's here for the unhinged. Excellent. I hope you found that useful. I need to go back and see if there's any questions. I will try because I'm just thinking of time. I don't want to run out. If there were any questions, I will find a way to come back to you. But I hope you've enjoyed that. See you around the rest of the summit and enjoy the rest of the day. I don't know who I pass over now. I'm assuming someone's going to come in and boot me off the stage.